Hey, welcome back. Today I just want to go over the change log so that we all know what we're getting in update 13. There's quite a bit here, and I think almost all of it is pretty good to see. I have noticed, and other people have pointed out to me in the Discord, that it seems like the devs are changing things randomly behind the scenes. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I mean, I love seeing updates while the game is still active, not these big updates that leave a lot to be desired at the end. But you may notice that in some maps, I can't confirm all maps yet, but when you shoot glass through the window, it breaks, which I think is awesome. Like, it adds a little bit of realism to it. Now, if they could just get it so the gun removes the wood trim inside the glass, that would be awesome, because that is just so stupid being an MG sitting in a window and you're shooting and that stupid tiny piece of wood doesn't blow out and prevents machine gun bullets from going through it. As well, in one of my previous videos, I shot into one of those windows and my bullet was stopped because of a tiny piece of wood in a window. So other than that, let's go through this changelog. And actually, one more thing. There's when you spawn in now, as soon as your guy spawns in, you'll see that the game fades in. It didn't really used to do that, and if it did, it was very slight compared to now. Now it's pretty obvious. But these little changes, I think, are really cool. I've always liked how Battlefield 5 specifically does their spawn into the game, where you're looking at the map and it just drops you in from like a helicopter view into the match. Like, that's pretty cool. I would love to see something like that for this game. It's not needed, but it's something that would be kind of cool. Other than that, let's get on with it. So vehicles, added Soviet T-70 light tank. I think the more tank options you add, the better. Whatever we can do to minimize heavy tanks on the battlefield, the better. I got nothing against the tanks. It's just, let's keep it realistic. Weapons. German support level 10 and US support level 10 will be for flamethrowers. This is an excellent choice. I really hope a lot of you realize this and start grinding out support, because the game has been lacking support players. It's been lacking people who are willing to jump into support. And as of right now, I think I'm a level 314. When I'm full of a squad of level 50s who can't seem to spawn in as support and I have to do it, and that's I've been level 10 support. That's the first role I ever played, and that's the first role I ranked straight up to 10. Like, I've dropped well over 1,000 supplies in this game. I have the achievement, and that achievement's only been out since a couple updates ago, but I have dropped thousands of supplies in this game, and it's a great way to learn the game. You'll understand where to put supplies, where's a shitty spot to put supplies, and, it's just a great role in the game. So I hope to see a lot of you guys grinding out support. I hope you guys are fighting over support so that you guys can be the first ones to level up to 10 and get that flamethrower. Now, I would have been fine with this being a level 9 to get the flamethrowers. It's kind of like the assault role. You get the satchel, you get, to play with that from level 9 to 10 and really get to use it. Where, you're not going to be gaining any XP once you get those flamethrowers. And you're going to see a lot of level 10 people fighting over those flamethrowers. Or just like they do at the sniper class, someone start me a squad so I can be sniper. Someone's just going to start you a squad so you can be, have a flamethrower. Which, whatever. The more the merrier. As far as Molotov cocktails go, Assault level 6, that's a good option. Assault level 9, I'm glad to see that there as well as Support level 6. Again, making people want to play support at least up to level 6. It'll make people want to play with the Russians more. And I think this fire update will be pretty fun. I just hope they remove the damn artillery from the game so snipers can go back to playing the game instead of this stupid situation where snipers have to spend their whole time in the back of the map because artillery is so powerful. I just absolutely hate artillery. and hope it goes away. And if we get the deployable mortars, then I just don't see any point for artillery in the game. Some of you guys love artillery. I get it because you get kills and stuff, but the whole purpose of it in the game is just burn up munitions so the commander doesn't have anything to use. And I see it a lot. A lot of you guys are pumping away on the artillery. You might have 3 guns going and there's 150 munitions, and there's a reason why the team can't progress and take over the next point, because we don't have any supplies for the commander to use. But anyway, it looks like the machine gun on the Russian side is going to be getting a buff. Reduced recoil while bracing fire from 0.75 to 0.2. That seems like a pretty big reduction in recoil. It is one of the only MGs where you can successfully hit fire while walking because there is no recoil. I just wish they would have never changed the having to ADS in order to fire the MG. You used to be able to just walk around and fire the MG, and it was great for walking up into a house. You still had your full speed movement left and right, and it was a lot easier to control, overall. Increased damage from 65 at 75 meters to 100 at 150 meters. So this looks like it's going to be a one-hit kill at 150 meters with the machine gun on the Russian side. That's perfectly fine. The gun has a slow rate of fire. It doesn't really hold that much bullets. And a one-hit kill up to 150 is totally fine. If they could make the PTRS take out garrisons like it used to, that would be even better. And another note for back on the artillery, if artillery took out garrisons, it would be fine to have in the game. People would understand the importance of garrisons, and there would be a lot more garrisons built, and everybody would understand how artillery could steamroll you if you don't have any garrisons. So I'd love to see that come back into the game. But other than that, added Lend-Lease bazooka loadout for Soviet tank level 8. So it looks like they just added the American one. I'm not sure. Don't really care. Glad the Russians have a bazooka because we need to take out garrisons. So whatever happens there, I could care less. I think the Russian factions weapons, a lot of them were a piss poor choice. Besides the SVT-40, that gun I think is easily the best gun on the Russian side. I think the rifles are fine. They are a little weak, it seems, but they're fine. I just think that that submachine gun that they use is just so awful. The 100-round drum is fun, but other than that, I mean, we could have a couple different guns that I think would level out the playing field and just make it a lot more fun to play with the Russians instead of being limited, which they've limited them for quite some time now, with the PTRS not taking out garrisons and it taking 30 some shots to kill a large tank. I get it's just a giant bullet really that's hitting the tank, so it shouldn't blow it up fast. It's just the usability of it, the likelihood you're going to blow up even a truck is so slim to none that people don't want to play AT, and it's just really not that interesting, and you're going to get just hammered by German tanks. So whatever they can do to balance that out would be fine. And remember, it's just a game. I get there's things that are accurate with history, but that went out the window a long time ago with this game. So at this point, I'd rather just see the game be fun for everyone and more weapon options, and they should really look at filling up those level 9 and level 10 infantry options with more weapons. One thing they could easily do is bring the Springfield into the American side as a regular rifle to use. That would be fun. That would be great. I would love to use that gun, but I don't know why that isn't a thing, but maybe we'll see that in the future. Added Lend-Lease bazooka loadout for a tank. Can't wait for that. Maps added Kharkov. Now, another snow map I just think is a pretty weak decision. I think Remagen is also kind of a shitty map unless the objective is on the bridge or you're playing offensive, I think is fine. I kind of feel that way about Purple Heart Lane. I think the offensive mode is a lot better than the warfare mode, even though Purple Heart Lane is like my second favorite map. Added fire damage logic to pre-placed fire assets across all maps. Okay, I think this means that fire, like in Hurtgen Forest, will now hurt you, which is fine. That's how it should be. Just don't make it two-dimensional. Like the two-dimensional fire around the trees is about the crappiest looking graphic in the entire game. It's not real. As you turn, the fire it faces you automatically. It just looks cheap. I think the old fire around the trees was fine, but you know, what do I know? Gameplay features. Added persistent dismantle progression. Saves progress for 5 seconds of inactivity. This is excellent because some of you might remember back in the old days, you used to be able, while taking down a node or something, you could click on the map and just keep the map up and not have to hold any buttons down, and it would take down the node automatically. Well, that was awesome. So the fact that you can undo your, attachment to the node and move around to the backside and then continue taking the node down, that's excellent. I think that's going to be a very positive thing. Added shared dismantle progression. This is something that should have been there in the first place. If many people can build one item, then I think multiple people should be able to dismantle the item. Seems, like a pretty simple aspect to the game, but whatever. Improved satchel placement logic. Okay, not sure what this means. Hopefully it means when I place a satchel on the tank doesn't drive away and all of a sudden it's on the ground, because I've had that happen. So yeah, anything improved with the satchel placement logic, fine by me. Improved satchel damage consistency. So yes, I have placed satchels on tanks before that literally did no damage or did very small partial damage. So consistency is always a good thing. Vehicle engines now drown when being submerged in water. Yeah, that's what happens in real life. So I guess you just have to get more speed when going across those trenches, those trenches in Purple Heart Lane. We'll see what happens with that. Added new achievements. Fine. Who cares? Cosmetics. Another. Nobody cares. It's been so long without any additional cosmetics that it's cool to have new stuff, and I'm glad someone's working on this, but it's really not all that important. Added the ability to set cosmetic presets in the barracks and loadout screens. Added additional non-verbal comms. Non-verbal comms, I'm not sure if that's pertaining to up in the text chat where it says that the commander's dropping one. Not sure, but that's fine. Not a big deal. Precision, strike, and request ammo. So I don't know if that's in the Rozo wheel or what, but that's pretty nice, I guess. Optimization. All right, so this is a big one. So it's kind of shitty to see only 3 things that this team really thinks are wrong with the game. But refactored the animation system to use fewer bones per character mesh. So not sure what our guys have extra bones moving past their elbow and between the wrists. I'm not real sure. Does this have to do with any bit of hit detection? That would be cool if it does. I doubt it though. We'll see what happens with that one. Particle and decal effects optimization. Well, this is a good thing. I think the effects look amazing in this game, especially when playing on epic settings. But anytime they can optimize this for better performance, I know some of you guys with medium spec PCs are, when a bombing run comes in or there's a lot of action on screen, you're going to experience some frame dips. So as long as optimization is always something in these change logs, the better. The more they talk about it, even better. Improved LODs for vehicles. So level of details. This is great because I don't know why tanks still see the same shitty PS2 visuals in the distance when they're using an optic. So let's hope that that looks nice and clear for them up front. That'd be good. Because sometimes there's fences and stuff that don't render in, or even entire buildings, and you can see enemies just looks like they're floating in midair because things aren't rendering in, or it's just a blob of color. Like some of the barbed wire on Utah Beach at distance just looks like this ugly blob of color. The level of detail should be changed for everybody. This really pertains to the grass. Once they added the grass in the game, it's become a nightmare for performance. And you used to be able to lay down in these open fields and mount with the MG and shoot. And now you have just this really long, tall grass to deal with. No MGs can really shoot down and lay down and see anything. It's kind of weird. But either way, if they lowered the grass just a little bit, it would help everything out. If they changed the rendering distance to, let's say, 300 meters, that would really help people hide out in the distance. Another thing with that, I think it was a really bad decision for them to make enemies disappear at 500 meters. I don't think there needs to be this safety zone. If you want to do anything with a safety zone, then you should do it with the tanks. And you should have it so tanks need to be close enough in a certain sector to even fire their cannons. And I know I'm just throwing it out there. A lot of you guys would hate that idea, but it would prevent tanks from sitting, 800 meters away on Kursk shooting at enemies where you can't even really get to where that tank is. Not as an AT. Maybe another tank can, but just throwing it out there. I don't think enemies should be not visible at 500 meters. If you run across an open field at 500 meters and a sniper sees you, he should be able to shoot you. And as well as the time to kill, I think for the rifles, to promote people using rifles, you should allow one-hit kills with the car and the Garand up to 300. I liked it before when you could just hit them with one shot in the chest at any distance and they would die. That would be great, because since they changed something, there's way too many times where I am up close with the car, shoot a guy directly in the chest, or his head being the only visible item above the wall is the top of his helmet, and I don't get a headshot. And that enemy just turns around and shoots me and I die. That is bullshit. That is the stupidest fucking thing ever, and it needs to be looked at. I can go play any other game, and this is the thing. I can go play any other game, and I don't deal with any of that. And it's weird. I'm used to dealing with all the little nuances of Hell Let Loose, like jumping and whatever. And you go play any other game, and it's like the jumping's fine. The hit detection feels nice. Like I know when I'm being hit, I'm being killed. Where in this game, I mean, there's been times where I've shot 6 people, watched them lay on the ground and disappear, and go look at my kills, and I got no kills. Like, what the hell is going on with that? Something's going on, and it needs to be looked at, because the hit detection in this game is about the most frustrating thing besides the loadout bug and other things. But the hit detection in a first-person shooter should be priority number 1, no matter what. Anyways, beyond that little rant there, we have effects. Added variation to the bombing run explosion FX. Okay, whatever. Like, I think it's fine where it is. I don't think anybody out there has a problem with it. I think there's better things to work on, but cool. I look forward to seeing what it looks like. Sounds. OPs and garrisons, half-track radio effect now fades the static noise when overrun by the enemy. Cool. I can deal with that. That's fine. I never cared for the noise in the first place. I think garrisons and OPs should be silent and they should be hidden. And if an enemy can find it, he can find it. Not this, oh, I hear it, and so now we're running towards a sound, trying to find a sound. Like, this was to help new players understand what they should be looking for to take it down. I think you're nerfing the game by doing things like that, but whatever. It's a cool little feature. It turns to static noise when overrun by the enemy. And if it's overrun by the enemy, then who the hell is there to protect it that's even going to hear the static noise in the first place? Unless it's meant for the enemy to hear. I think they lock up in blue territory within 10 meters now, which is kind of stupid. I think an enemy should have to be actually on it in order for it to lock up, which would make sense, but whatever. Added UI SFX for deploy countdown in the final 3 seconds. Awesome. That's fine, because right now we hear that little boom, and then it goes into the game. And what's interesting is back in the earlier updates, like when I started in update 7, and 8, you would hear, before going into the match, you would hear the actual sound you're about to get into game. So it was, you'd hear like a tank and you'd be like, oh shit, okay, there's a fucking tank going to be in right there. And you'd spawn in and there, sure shit, there's a tank firing. It's like the sound wouldn't even change. It just would give you a brief clip of sound of what you're about to experience. And I always thought that was pretty cool. And now, ever since then, it's just this random ass sound where you hear a tank and then you go in and it's an open field and there's not a single person around. Well, like, what is that? It's just kind of dumb. So whatever they add for that, maybe it's some talking, maybe it's some, a motivational speech of some sort. That's fine by me. Refactored a new animation system. This should result in increased performance and smoother animation in third-person perspective. Okay, should result. Well, man, what if it doesn't? Is this just another bug thing that we get to live with for 3 months to a year? Is this something that if it doesn't work will ever be looked at again in the future? Because they should have labeled this as speculative fix. Oh, just like the bug fixes down here. Speculative fix. So this might or might not result in better performance and smoother animation. Well, I just hope it does. Third person perspective, I hope what this is referring to is when you see an enemy, when you see a friendly running in the distance at like 150 meters or so, it looks like they're glitching across the map, like their animation doesn't look smooth. If it's referring to the close-up animations, like a guy pulling out their weapon and their gun literally coming over their shoulder and their head popping on, I'm sure you guys have seen that, then fine. I really like to see them working on things that benefit the game and make it a funner game to play. At this point, I don't think Team 17 gives a shit about keeping veterans in the game. I think that's the last thing that they're actually looking for. I think they just want that new player money, and they just don't give a shit if you only play it for 3 hours and never touch it again. They already have your money. And I think that's what they rely on. And this whole list is, kind of aimed at making the game better, but it's short-term results seems to be the way of the gaming world. It's all about that 2-3 year, how much money can we gather so we can move on to the next project instead of looking at long-term relationships, which why isn't that the way we do things? I'm not really sure. Server administration. I could go on for an hour about how shitty the Archon control is for the servers. Like, why can't I add objectives where I want them to be on the map? Why can't I disable artillery or disable certain tanks and literally be able to control the matches that are happening in my server? That would be excellent. I don't need any control over infantry, nothing like that. But to limit artillery objectives, make, I could have all the objectives on one side of the map. I could literally zigzag them. There's a lot of things they could do that they don't want to give us the options to do. And I just really can't understand why. Map rotations now allow for duplicate entries of the same map. So I can just play Purple Heart Lane twice in a row. I'm not sure why that's needed. And admin has the ability just to open up the Archon and just select the map. That's pretty easy to do. So to add duplicates, whatever. Added ability for admins to direct message players via Archon. Okay, well, that's cool. You know, in our battle for the middle matches, we don't want players going one sector past the red zone. We want to keep it a battle for the middle. We know that everybody's in the middle sector, so if one person goes up, he's going to start capping the next point, and we don't want that. And be able to send a direct message to that player to say, "Hey, turn back." That would be great, because other than that, I have to do it manually, find him in game, or just kill him by admin if he doesn't have enough time to turn around. That's not a fun way to do things. So I'd say that's a positive. Added Archon command to display game state information, team sizes, score, remaining time, current map, next map. I think there's a website. I don't think there is. I just can't remember the name. That allows you to get more information out of the server, like top 10 kills or whoever killed the most people in the game, whatever, stuff like that. If any of you know, let me know in the comments what the hell that website is, because I can't remember. But either way, more stats, the better. Steam 64 ID is now displayed in the connect disconnect log. Well, that's good, because there should be lists between all these server admins of known cheaters and people you've banned from your server. If the anti-cheat is dog shit, but we actually have Steam IDs that we can ban people from all these servers so that they have to go play on the Hell Let Loose servers, that's awesome. That's how it should be. These people should have to play with other cheaters or whatever. Maybe someone was just being super shitty, and it'd be great to have a collective list of all those players. Speculative fix for the long-standing loadout bug. Well, again, you guys attempted to fix that once, called it a speculative fix, and now it's still a speculative fix. Well, hopefully they fixed that for the loadout bug and the grenade bug. That shit is annoying and gets you killed almost all the time. Who wants to load into Foy and be stuck with a Thompson? Like, that is just so dumb. Improve shot hit statistics to not count structures, vehicles shot with firearms. So shots hit were counting when you're firing at a vehicle or structure. That's stupid. I don't know how that gets mixed up. I'm not a coder, so I'm not even going to try to understand it. I just know that, yeah, if that's happening, that's pretty lame. Fixed. Drivers can no longer turn off the engine to stealth roll long distances in vehicles. Not sure who made up that or decided that was an important thing. Never heard one person mention that. It's not like the truck rolls forever. So kind of seems like a waste of time here. Fixed. Incorrect plane used to drop ammo for Russia and Germany. Okay, adds a bit of realism. Whatever. Fixed. The deploy button appears when player resigns the commander role, then joins another unit without changing the role. Sure, I never realized that was a thing, but I'm glad it's getting fixed. Fixed. The Russian commander fuel abilities list order isn't consistent in changes. Well, yeah, that's a good thing to fix. Fixed. Satchel charges won't destroy barbed wire at certain distances. I think the barbed wire is the dumbest shit they ever put on these maps. The permanent barbed wire, not the stuff you can build. You should be able to build more than 4 things of barbed wire and layer up a whole place. Not this like choke point on like Hill 400 where you're at like the radio tower, and these choke points that you have to come in from a certain angle. The barbed wire is stupid. And if it is the stock barbed wire, the permanent barbed wire, why can't that be blown up with a satchel? I think it should be able to. Why not? That seems really simple to do and would help everybody. Fixed. German fuel nodes are unable to be destroyed with satchel charges. Oh, well, that's really dumb. And I wonder how long that's been going on for. I haven't really noticed. Fixed. Gunshot SFX can still be heard if the player that is shooting certain weapon dies. Okay, this happens a lot, and this was a problem at one point in time, and then it was fixed, and then it came back. So as far as the gaming world goes, I'm not sure if like they went to a previous play state as far as what they, like a save point for making a game, and they re-uploaded that and built on from there, and that bug came back. That's my guess, but whatever. That it is dumb. I have been hit by bullets after a player has been downed and still shooting at me. So, yeah, that's a good thing. Fixed. The back button in the barracks menu does not work correctly immediately after a new favorite role is selected. I don't know. I've never had a problem with the back button, but I will say when you go into the scoreboard, I have seen where it says personal stats on the bottom twice, and you have to click on your name and then click one of them to go see your stats. And sometimes that doesn't work. You got to back out of the scoreboard and then go back into it. And then you'll see only one personal stats and button to click. And that's been around for a long time. They fix it. Cool. Either way, I'm not really a big fan of the UI menu. I liked it before when the spawn in button, or I guess the redeploy and the leave server were on two separate sides of the screen, so you didn't accidentally hit leave server. Because this happens a lot where people redeploy and they accidentally hit leave server because it's right next to each other. Remember, this shit was added for people with controllers. For people that are playing on console, I play with the controller, but I don't use that to select through the menu. I use the mouse. But on console, people just want to be able to hit up and down and pick their thing. So this whole UI system was to help out console, and it's just it didn't need to be that way. But we got to pamper the console kids. Fixed resign as commander button doesn't appear after rejoining previously created armor recon unit. Whatever. Fixed is good. Fixed Panther German Heavy has a shorter cooldown after spawning it compared to the Tiger. Okay, yeah, balance it out. Fixed machine gun cannot be mounted in specific types of buildings across the map. This shit is so annoying. It seems like over time, the most premium windows to mount in and shoot from, for some reason, you can't mount in it. For some reason, the wood trim in the window stops bullets, but you can break the glass and the wood trim stays. It's really stupid. Another thing with the MG is why you can't mount and then just turn on an axis. You like attach to the ground and you turn with that axis. That is so stupid. It used to never be a problem. It's been a problem for over a year, and anything they do with the MG to fix the mounting and in certain windows, yeah, fix that shit. Because it isn't just a certain building that does it. It's prime windows to hold off an attack. It is absolutely that. Fixed. Receiving an invite request while on the deploy screen will block a player from leaving the loadout menu once accessed. I never experienced that. I'm glad it's being looked at and fixed. Fixed first-person perspective. The German small ammunition box, medical supplies box, explosive ammo box has identical models when held in hand. I'm glad you guys noticed it. I'm not sure anybody else noticed it. Maybe some of you diehards did. So glad it's fixed. Fixed. This sector is locked. Hint triggers improperly in deployment screen. Cool. I don't use the hints, so whatever helps new players, I guess. Fixed. Some achievements contain spelling errors. Yeah, in 2022, spelling errors are not okay. Not okay at all. Spelling errors are the biggest complaint among graphic designers. And in 2022, I still see shit spelled wrong on YouTube, and I find it hilarious because it has spell check. It's just a right click and click the right name. Everyone's got a phone, right? Like you can do your text to speech and figure out if you know how to spell something or not, if you're spelling it wrong. Pretty simple. So it's good that that's being looked at. Fixed. Rain Hell achievement does not unlock when killing 10 players with one projectile of the Katyusha strike. Yeah, there's been a couple achievements that haven't unlocked that I've personally had after doing them. So whatever. Glad it's fixed. Fixed. Attempting to join a server through a direct link does not launch the game or connect the player to a server if the game is running. Well, oh, I guess this next one is along with it. Joining servers through the Steam servers option when the game is closed will leave the player on the front end. Okay, well, you used to be able to join through Steam onto a player. Sometimes it works. The night maps, there's something with the night maps. Oh, it doesn't tell you it doesn't give you the server information when a night map is just, when your friend is on a night map in Steam. So it'd be nice to see that fixed too. Any way to get in with your friends quicker, the better. Fixed. The player is unable. Player is unable to join a server through another player or by an invite when using the Steam overlay. Kind of the same thing. Glad it's fixed. Fixed muzzle flash FX is missing from the DP27 machine gun. That's the Russian machine gun. Yeah, that's kind of odd. I don't use that gun often, but I'm glad that's fixed. Fixed. U.S. medium tank M4A3 has no SFX when colliding with objects. That's kind of weird. Fixed. At very specific angles, trucks would sometimes not receive damage. Yes. This is so annoying. I have had to hit trucks 3 times with rockets before to blow them up, and so I assume this is the result of that. Glad to see it's fixed. Fixed floating fireball is visible after vehicle engines are damaged and repair. Yeah, I've seen the floating fireballs. I'm glad that's gone. Not a big thing. I only ever saw it like 2 or 3 times, but whatever. Fixed. Tanks moving in reverse will automatically change to gear 1 when tracks are destroyed. Cool. So I assume it was forcing you into gear 1 when the tracks were destroyed and not being able to go in reverse. Not sure there. Either way, glad it's fixed. Fixed. Player doesn't get a FK kick after he already receives one in the idle time if the idle time is changed via Archon. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. Fixed. Satchel damage against Belgian gates is inconsistent. Sure. Glad it's fixed. Fixed. Walking into supply truck crates causes the dropping sound effect to be played. Yeah, that's been around in the game for 2 years. So I don't think anybody is gonna miss that. I mean, just walk up to a supply drop out of a truck and pull the HUD up and you'll hear like the box dropping sound. That's fine. Yeah. Fixed AP and HE shells are unable to suppress enemy players. I'm pretty sure I've been suppressed by these things, but maybe not. Maybe not. Fixed. Supply box achievement count boxes placed instead of total supplies provided. Yeah, that's a weird one. Glad to see it's fixed. I don't think I've ever seen that one. Fixed. Destroying the Panther rewards the player with the wrong combat score. Cool. Now, if they could only fix the anti-tank play with, let's say you have 2 people shooting rockets at a tank. Well, I think you should get points for hitting it first. I think you should get points for hitting it second. And I think the other person should get more points for being the one that blows it up. So let's say you hit it once, you get 15 points. Another person hits it, they get 15 points. The last person to hit it gets 25 points. Why can't we break it up that way? If, I just don't understand it. It's really stupid. You have people who run around this game waiting to steal people's AT scores. And I get it. I mean, you're just trying to get the points. But if you're literally waiting for someone to get 2 shots so you can get your 3rd shot in, it's kind of weak, but they're just playing the game, but it's still stupid. And you should be able to divvy up the amount of points for blowing up a tank and hits with a rocket. So get on that, guys. Fixed. Hull and coaxial machine guns do not reload after exiting and entering during reloading. Yeah, that has to be super frustrating. This doesn't just happen with that though. I've had, even just last night playing, I have loaded into the game and spawned in and my gun has no bullets. Like, what the hell is happening here? How come I can sometimes reload and then have one bullet and then nothing else? Like, these bugs need to be fixed. This game's been out too long. And anybody who the devs will fix it. Like, no, these issues that have been around for so long, and they really are what make people leave this game forever. And there's people who have had this game. They were part of the Kickstarter, and you'll see them play it after every update, and they're level 12. It's like, oh, you were a Kickstarter backer, but you're level 12. It's like, yeah, because they don't want to play a game that's not finished and not full of bugs. And, you know, that's why I think that whole cosmetic list is just useless. Like, who cares about cosmetics? I know some of the new players do, because they want to play it like Call of Duty, and they want to have like all these other options and attachments and loadouts and all this other bullshit that the game doesn't need. When once you play the game long enough, or if Team 17 isn't really expecting you to play the game that long, why would they care about fixing the bugs? Because it's going to take you up a while to figure out all these little bugs. You know, I don't know. It's a double-edged sword. Fixed. Opening the game in windowed mode with certain resolutions will cause the top bar to appear off screen. Whatever. Fixed. Closing scoreboard while opening personal stats page will cause scoreboard to not appear. Yep, I've seen that. Fixed. Choosing the bill head on US roll equips the player with the hands head from German side. That's just funny. Carrington. Fixed. Some crater assets allowed players to see under the terrain. That does happen. But to my knowledge, I have never been able to actually shoot or had a bullet go up into the main game when under the terrain. The only thing I really liked about being under the terrain is when you put like an AP mine or a tank mine in the road, and you can get it to be under the dirt, you know? That's kind of funny. Purple Heart Lane, fixed. Player can spawn into closed house and C8. Well, spawning into closed houses and greenhouses has kind of always been a thing, and I know it's been a consistent issue. It doesn't happen all that often, but it always seems to happen at the prime time when you need it not to happen. Fixed. Invisible wall collision is present on a section of stone wall along the main road. There's invisible walls everywhere in this game, whether you're running along a hedge, whether you are running through a brick wall that has a big enough opening for two people to fit through, and for some reason you can't walk through it. There's a building in St. Mary Glees behind the church, you know, where the tall 3-level houses are, and there's that one 2-level long building. In the top level of that long building, there's a blank invisible wall that doesn't allow you to get to the other side. Kind of weird. It's been there forever. You'd think that'd be like a really short fix. Someone could spend, you know, maybe a lunch break's worth of time fixing. But again, these simple things aren't what this dev team is interested in fixing. They're interested in taking your money and hoping you have a good enough time, and after the 2-hour trial period's up, they get to keep your money forever, whether you like the game or not. That's what seems to be happening. It's been happening since the beginning of this game, and it just really, for the player base's sake, would love to see some of these bugs really fixed once and for all, and hopefully get the game in a saved state to where all your current updates from that don't have broken things. And I get things break. I'm not mad at that. Let's just keep fixing them. You can see what happened with the Battlefield 2042, all the bugs, all the shit people talked about the game, and how they realized they had to go back and fix things. You can see the same thing with the new Modern Warfare. There's the same kind of bugs that Hell Let Loose has had for years. They have in those games, and people are pissed about it. And why this community just seems to not care. You know, not care is not the right word, because some people have just literally exhausted themselves talking about it. But why a company like Team 17, who in the short term of things is putting out a piece of art, is putting out years worth of work, doesn't want to see their game in a pristine condition, is baffling to me. I don't know. an artist never knows when to quit, right? So making a painting, an artist could always make a couple more strokes on that painting. Always. They know it. But at some point, you have to let it go out and let it be. But this game, they've focused on shiny things, making things shiny, literally. Like the supply boxes and garrisons and everything having the shimmer to it and all shiny and crisp, instead of actually digging into the core of the game and fixing the issues and then going forward. No, we'll get to them eventually. No, we'll get to them eventually. We just need a little bit more money, a little bit more money. Well, I'll tell you what, there's not enough people joining this game for you guys to just make a bunch of money on it. So you might as well get the game in a perfect working condition. Then you're going to have other YouTubers, large YouTubers that come out and say, look, guys, the game is finally in a great spot and everybody should be playing it. But right now, yes, I have had my fun with the game. I paid the $30. I have 2,600 hours in. I've had some really incredible times in this game. So in that respect, get the game. It's great. But if you're used to playing other games where things just work the way they're supposed to, this is not that game. This is not that game. For one, it's a big learning curve in a sense. But in another, the game reminds you all the time of its bugs and shitty things that should have been fixed a long, long, long time ago. And you can go look at the Steam charts. After every update, the game gets a boost. Oh, highest amount of players ever. And it's not like there's new copies being sold. This is people coming back to playing a game, seeing if things are fixed, and that one thing they don't like, which made them quit. And then they have that happen in their first match, and they realize, yep, these fucking devs don't fucking care. Not saying the devs, Team 17 as a whole now, since they own it. It's corporate making piss poor decisions that really don't help the player base as a whole. It's all about the short-term profits. It's all about the $5 DLCs, which one of mine still doesn't work. I bought it when it came out. Still can't use it in game. Pretty stupid. It is hell let loose after all. Fixed. Rubble can be seen through when prone. Yeah, fix that. That's awesome. Fixed. There is a kill volume in Sector E10 that makes vehicles disappear. Okay. Fixed. Misaligned train. Oh. I thought it was going to be terrain because I see the terrain a lot. Like when you ADS and it just like bubbles in really quick and just looks kind of dumb. But misaligned train. So someone gave a shit enough to notice a misaligned train. Okay. All right. Fixed. Multiple visual issues around a trench. Which trench? You guys know. Tell us. It's fixed. Tell us which trench that was. Fixed. There's a large misaligned dirt pile near a German bunker. Ooh, misaligned dirt pile. Goddamn. These are the important things where we need fixed, you know. Fixed mud embankment along road is misaligned in multiple places. Damn. I hope someone got a slap on the wrist for that shit. Kursk. Fixed. Light can be shining through the ground. Yeah, this is hell let loose. Didn't you know? Fixed. Floating grass is present in certain areas. This shit happens all the time. It ain't just Kursk. Fixed. Misaligned terrain textures present in Sector C9. Don't doubt it. Fixed. A pair of wooden gates are not connected to any fence. Mystery. Good thing we're going for the realism. Fixed. The artillery shells are misaligned with the terrain. Well, shame that guy. I hope he got fired. Fixed. 2 metal barrels in certain locations are clipping through a wood fence. Golly gee. Stalingrad. Here's a map that needs some serious fixing, as well as Hurtgen Forest and the stutters and all that kind of shit. Fixed. Players can clip into a specific metal roof and hide from enemies. Oh no. Fixed. One of the buildings in the vicinity of the nail factory lacks collision below the staircase on the ground floor. Damn. Not a single thing mentioned about stutters. Not a single thing mentioned about Stalingrad being the biggest, shittiest map to play on. I can't tell you how frustrating it is every time I ADS and go to aim at an enemy and my timing's thrown off because it stutters on the way into the ADS. It is so annoying. I'm not playing on a shitty PC, so I should be able to play the game without the stutters. Another thing that used to help a lot was an old NVIDIA driver that had this option that you had to unlock called Silk Smoothness. You could do it with NVIDIA Profile Inspector. And it would completely fix that ADS stutter. It would just allow the game to be silky smooth at, using a little bit more of your GPU power to get it done. But it made the game butter. Known key issues. Character model clipping in Jeeps. Okay, cool. Character sits too high in the US Jeep driver's seat. That seems like an oversight. Someone's turning in a project that ain't quite finished. So that's cool that you guys know that it was not right in the first place. Third person perspective animation. Issues when switching between flamethrowers and pistols. Yeah, I bet that probably looks pretty weird. First person perspective flamethrowers becoming offset on FOVs higher than 90. Honestly, who's playing this game higher than 90 unless you're on console? Anybody playing on 90, you're going to have a hard time. And you're probably wondering why you're getting killed from distances you can't see. Granted, 90 FOV is going to bring things a little closer to you, but I definitely recommend if you're playing 24-inch 1080p, then probably around 100. If you're playing on 1440p 27-inch, then go for a 104 to anything higher. Some people like to play with it at max. Then, do what you want. At max, it's going to seem like the guy moves a little faster. But in reality, what the enemy sees, you're still moving the same as everyone else. So it's, at a higher FOV too, your recoil might look less, quite a bit noticeably less, but the recoil is actually still there. Personal preference there. Cosmetics clipping with the new Soviet Tokes. Is that how you say that? Cool. The M1943 winter uniform on riflemen and automatic riflemen show incorrect texture on the character's hands. Okay, well, that's cool. Not long ago, I was playing a game and my team was saying that it looked like I was wearing an 80s ski outfit. And I'll try to post a screenshot up here, but it looked like I had like the purple textures you see in the game, the bright purple textures you sometimes see. That was like all over my outfit. And obviously, if my team can see it, everyone else can see it. And I obviously stand out like crazy in the game. So whatever they can do to fix these would be good. Some menu animations exhibit bugs. Yep, don't doubt it. Molotovs do not sit firmly in the player's hands. Oh, so it's like a Barbie and Ken doll trying to put something in their hand, and there's this giant gap between the fingertips and the thumb, I imagine. Well, either way, I'm glad people are looking into these things. There's a lot of good things in here. There's a lot of things that need to be still worked on, and just some acknowledgement would be good. I know that you guys know that we know that you know. So I hope that you guys look into these things. It's a lot easier to promote a game that has active admins working on things that the player base cares about. It's really difficult when you have a dev team that's focused on things that they think are important and straight up ignoring the player base for years. And it's a real thing that people just get sick of the game and they move on. I see it. I see people get frustrated with this game. And they move on to something else, and something that gives them pleasure and joy. And what's funny is when they do, they realize exactly how many things are wrong with Hell Let Loose. And there's a reason why I don't just spend a lot of time putting out things I've learned in this game. Really, when update 10 happened, I was just over trying to put out things that I thought were interesting about the game. The game is interesting. There's a lot of cool things. The devs really didn't add anything for a long time of any interest that really is worth talking about, in my opinion. you know, if you go back to any earlier guides about the guns or whatever, then all that shit's changed. All that shit's done for. Like the guns, all of them kill in the same distance now. The rifles, it's a 2-shot kill past 200, which is the dumbest shit ever. It's kind of just gotten me better at shooting twice long distance to get a kill. But at the same time, it's not really rewarding then. You're forcing people to use worse guns up closer than everyone running around with an SMG. So they really need to focus on those things. Guns and rifles in real life were damaging. You would be killed in the chest with one hit at distance, a lot further distance than what this game seems to think is acceptable. There's just a lot of things wrong with this game. And I really hope they can spend the time to fix these things, because a lot of things on this list, I guarantee, are many things none of you noticed, like have ever noticed in game. Like the recoil with the machine gun on the Russian side. It's just, really, is that a thing? Is that a thing? Okay, so a couple clicks here, a couple clicks here, you change the values, and now we're good to go. You guys yourself have played with it and let it go out and said, yes, this is good to go. Or did you just go, yep, change some numbers, blah, 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 let the PTE figure it out? Not sure, but there's a lot of things in this list that nobody cares about. Nobody gave a shit about in the first place. Even the shitty fire around the trees, whatever. I could care less. When I'm not playing, when I'm running around in Hurtgen Forest, I'm not staring at the trees. When I happen to see the 2D animation, I giggle to myself and go, God, that looks like shit. And then I move on and forget about it, and who cares, right? Because at the end of the day, it's just a game. It doesn't need to be super realistic. The devs have done great work with the animations, the sounds, the playability, the gunfights, everything else in the long run is good with the game. If you could fix these issues once and for all, then you're doing yourself a huge favor with the player base. You're going to see people that play it more often. You're going to see people who invite their friends back, new players that are going to have a great experience from day one, and you're just going to gain yourself more money in the long run. I just don't understand why you can't go forward with that model instead of fixing all this stupid shit that nobody fucking cares about, that nobody wants. Nobody cares about a new winter map. Like, people already hate Foy. Why the hell do you think they'd like another winter map? Why? Because you had a couple buildings in there, but you still got the same open fields. No one wants that. And is there anything else? Guns that you can add? Was there any other guns in the American faction, German faction, Russian faction? Yeah, a quick Google search will come up with many different options. So why don't we have that in the game? Why isn't there more things to actually use in the game? It's been a long time since we've had new guns. Well, what was the last new gun? The grease gun? Like, say, the FG42? Like, that's it? That's what we get? That's it? Okay. Oh, now we have a new winter uniform, but people, you realize up front this is going to be a problem. So now you have two sections for loadouts for winter maps and not winter maps and blah, 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 blah. That's going to be useless if people just take those winter maps right out of their server list. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like some things are very well thought out. But what do I know? I don't work at a game company. I don't see what goes on behind the scenes. Who's the big swinging dicks making these piss poor decisions? I don't really know. All I know is I would love to see a stronger player base, and you're only going to get that from fixing all these crappy little bugs that have plagued the game forever. I hate seeing level 12s come into the game that bought the game during the Kickstarter, and they don't play it because it sucks. Like, these bugs are... People don't want to play shit with bugs. Like, we all remember the days when you'd buy a game on a cartridge and it better be perfect. And don't get me wrong, back then, creating Super Mario 3 was a lot larger of a task than creating Hell Let Loose. And we can argue about that all day long, but that was innovative. Many games have been built for a long period of time now, PC games, Unreal Engine. These issues with the game should be looked at. Call of Duty's player base is definitely nitpicky as fuck, but these things will get fixed because they're like that. Battlefield 2042 lost a shit ton of revenue, and then they realized, oh yeah, we better revamp the game and hire the old CEO or whatever they did there. And they realize that when it hits the pocketbook. I can't imagine this game making a ton of money off of people buying it. I just can't. I don't see it. I don't see it in the player numbers. Maybe they get it and these people never play it past 3-4 hours and then that's it. And then, you know, Team 17 has your money and you can't get it back. I don't really know. It's kind of shitty though, if that's the way it is and that's what they're doing. I don't agree with that at all. I think you should let these devs get to the nitty gritty, fix some of these problems that they know exist, and let them turn in a project that's exceptional, that's up to par, that is designed with care in mind and usability moving forward. That's all. I could care less about your roadmap that you'll never get to have those things on there. I don't care about your 3 months away dev blogs, which, you know, I'm glad they're bringing the dev blogs back. I thought that was a great idea in the first place. But I don't know how many people are reading the dev blogs, but it's interesting stuff sometimes, you know. But when you go back and read the old dev blogs, you can kind of see where it started going sour. But other than that, guys, hope you have a great week. Thanks for sticking with me through this incredibly to mildly boring change log. I just thought some things on here needed to be talked about so we all know what's going on in the future with how let loose. See ya.